In today's Leeds news, Elland Road planning granted. Danilo Doekhi wants Leeds United move. Piroe could be heading to the World Cup. And rumour mill stories on Sebastian Bornauw and Harry Wilson. Morning folks, welcome to the Leeds View. Jay here on Friday the 9th of January with your Leeds United news. Hope your week has gone well so far to you. We'll have a podcast out tonight. Apologies for the couple of spelling issues yesterday. I was in a crazy rush to get out the door to get to a funeral, so I didn't do my normal checks afterwards. Assumed it was alright, and I'm always likely to make a few spelling mistakes along the way. So again, apologies for that on Daniel Frank's name, but you knew what I was talking about, and that's the important part. But yeah, there will be a podcast out tonight to look back at this week, a bit of transfer news, as well as looking ahead to the Derby County game of the weekend and the likely changes. We will have a watch along over on bigup.com for the Derby game, so you can check that out if you want to over there. We do have our predictions competition, chance to win some cash. There'll be details of that down below in the description when this goes out, as well as a link to bring you over to Bigup if you want to enter that. Right, let's move on and start off with today's Leeds news, and we'll start off with the Elland Road development decision. Big day for the new redevelopment of Elland Road as Leeds City Council finally granted Leeds United planning permission to move forward. Leeds United confirmed last night that the green light had been given and they can now move to the next phase of development and begin construction in May as was previously planned. A statement from Leeds United on this reads as follows. Leeds United Football Club can today confirm that planning permission has been granted for the long-awaited expansion of Elland Road Stadium, a historic milestone for the club, its supporters and the city of Leeds. The news means that redevelopment can commence and Elland Road will be transformed into a UEFA Category 4 stadium, which means that Leeds United will be able to host major tournament games, showcase events, and as they word it, generate significant cultural and economical value and revenue for the Leeds City region. Leeds United Chairman Parag Marathe had the following to say on the decision. We are delighted to have secured planning permission for the expansion of Elland Road Stadium. This is a historic day for Leeds United Football Club. As custodians of this great club, we are committed to its long-term success, and today's decision supports our ambition to establish Leeds in the Premier League and continue progressing over the years to come. I would like to thank everyone involved in this project to date for helping us to reach this point. Leeds say that the next steps on this plan will begin immediately, and the club will plan to begin construction work in May once this season has finished, which has been the plan. So what else do we need to know at this point? Well, from a PSR perspective, that has been a question. Does this impact Leeds United's potential transfer kitty? Well, no, it doesn't. Because due to PSR, football stadium redevelopment is not included in PSR calculations, and Leeds have already said that the money being raised for this has been raised separately from that, so it shouldn't and won't impact Leeds United's transfer kitty this January. It also doesn't fall into the brackets of the new squad cost ratio model that replaces PSR next season. Relegation is the obvious next question as well on this. Does that impact the stadium? Well, according to Leeds, the redevelopment plan will continue regardless of what status Leeds have next season, whether it be a Premier League club or whether it be back in the Championship. Again, because it doesn't impact PSR, the 49ers can spend their own money on this and don't have to worry about revenue generation in order to put the money into this, which they have to do from a transfer perspective. So different pots of money, different scenarios, but very, very good news for Leeds United. The redevelopment will start. Should be all done and dusted for both stands. It should be done by 2030. So 4-year development, about 2 years per stand. So, and they will be developing those stands around the existing stands. So the capacity shouldn't be reduced too much during the development work, which kicks off at the end of this year and will be seen visibly at the start of next season. Let's move on. Let's talk about Danilo Doekhi. In an exclusive from Fraser Fletcher yesterday, he claims that Union Berlin centre-back Danilo Doekhi wants to move to Leeds United. Doekhi has been linked repeatedly with Leeds United over the last month or so, and a new report says the player is keen to make a move to Leeds. As we know, Doeki has 6 months remaining on his existing contract, and a fee is rumoured to be anything around €13 million. That's about £10.75 million, £11 million for those who want to know that. Fletcher says that at this point, no official bid has come in from Leeds United right now, but clubs, not just Leeds United, are said to have spoken to Union around the potential of signing him and what would be needed to be done in order to bring him in. The report goes on to say that Leeds are ready to focus in and try and bring Doeki to the club, with the defender said to be very keen on the move to Elland Road. But Leeds, as per normal, according to this report, are said to be playing the waiting game on this one in an attempt to try and bring the Bundesliga asking price down for the centre half. That approach backfired for Leeds United in the summer transfer window. It worked very well during the championship windows with different types of players, but it did backfire a couple of times during the summer, and it's not a move Leeds should be considering at this point. Other sources and reports in Germany today say that from a player's perspective, personal terms are not said to be any issue at all, and they believe that Leeds United think that a reasonable price can be reached in order to bring the centre-back to the club. The second report also states that Doeki is very keen on the move to Leeds United as well. So from this perspective, the likely issue is PSR. Leeds are possibly trying to get that price down in order to stay within the limits of PSR. But Leeds do have until the 30th of June in order to bring more money in. So they don't have to do it right now. Leeds are said to also still be keen on bringing some attacking options in, so they may need to look at the loan market for that with potential options. That's not going to be straightforward or easy at all. Leeds have 3 remaining loan spaces in the squad that are not currently being used, so they're going to have to get a little bit creative, find some money down the back of the sofa, or hope additional revenue has come in, or that Robbie Evans was way off the mark in the summer when he said that we had maxed out on PSR and there is more available funds. Danilo Doekhi said in his last couple of press conferences that there would likely be something happening after the Derby County game, which will bring us into next week, and about halfway through the transfer window, or a third of the way through the transfer window for this month. But Leeds do need to add more players if Danilo Doekhi is to have a squad to maintain Leeds' position in the Premier League. They've got to make sure that this team can be rotated. Injuries will happen. They've got to make sure they've got adequate cover all across the back. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about Joel Piroe's international future. Leeds striker Joel Piroe has been the centre of speculation over his international future for quite some time. Last season, Piroe rejected a call-up from the Surinamese national side as he wanted to focus on Leeds United's goals at that point. He was also keeping one eye on a potential call-up to the Netherlands. A call-up at this point to the Netherlands seems incredibly unlikely due to his lack of minutes in the Premier League this season, and it now looks like he has made a final decision on his international allegiances and future. Yesterday, news came out that Piroe has decided to represent Suriname moving forward, the country of his father's birth, and that might just help their case in trying to qualify for this summer's World Cup. Suriname have still got a chance to qualify after finishing second in their group, but they do have to go through the Inter-Confederation playoff tournament, which will take place in Mexico in March this year. He could be playing several games in that tournament, so not great from a Leeds perspective, although whether he's still a Leeds player at that stage still remains to be seen. Piroe could now be part of Suriname's first ever World Cup if they can get through that tournament and qualify. It's great for him, means international football for him. The Netherlands just looks like a bit of a stretch at this point, just given the move to the Premier League hasn't exactly worked out as he would have liked. And again, we're still not sure about where his future lies. If Leeds are looking to bring in the money, the fact he's not playing football, it looks like Piroe could be an option for them there as well. Right, let's move on. Let's get into the rumour mill territory. There's a couple of stories on this, one in and one out. As normal with the rumour mill stuff, it's in the rumour mill for a reason. This is all subjective information from the back pages. Very little confirmed on this, but just I'll give you the information around what's out there. You can decide yourself if you believe in it. The first one to talk about though today is Sebastian Bornauw. According to a report from Bild in Germany, they say that several Bundesliga sides have interest in Bornauw, and the centre-back does want to move despite the fact that he has had recent starts for Leeds United, and he wants to move in order to strengthen his claim of getting into the Belgian national side for this summer's World Cup. FC Cologne are still said to be the main club with interest in Bornauw at this point, and the move did seem off the table after Joe Rodon picked up an injury, but because of Rodon's speed of recovery, Bornauw found himself straight back on the bench against Newcastle this week, and that means there is now renewed hope in the Bundesliga for clubs that they could get a move for Bornauw. Bornauw believes that he is a stopgap at Leeds United, according to the report from Bild, and he does want a move, and his agent is said to be at this point offering him around clubs in the Bundesliga. Cologne are said to want a loan move for him at this point, but from a Leeds perspective, if Leeds are looking at bringing in a Danilo Doekhi as a potential replacement for that position, possibly even an upgrade, they will need to bring in some cash for that. Alone probably doesn't suit him. From Bornauw's perspective, it probably suits him perfectly. Goes, plays some minutes in the Bundesliga, puts himself in the shop window for Belgium, might get into the World Cup squad, comes back to Leeds in the summer. But from a Leeds perspective, Leeds will need a replacement if he's to go anywhere. He ain't going anywhere unless Leeds have another centre-back coming in, and Leeds potentially already do need an additional centre-back there anyway, so we'll keep an eye on that one. It seems unlikely at this point, but we'll see what happens. Let's talk about Harry Wilson. He's still yet to sign a new deal at Fulham. That's been on the table for a while now, and his contract is ticking down and will expire at the end of the season. Wilson currently is having the season of his life. This is what I get for calling an attacker an average player in the summer. He's got 10 goal involvements so far this season. Has been a major factor in Fulham's rise up the table in recent weeks. A fresh report today, though, says that any lingering hope Leeds United had of bringing Harry Wilson appears to now be over, and that's due to comments made by Fulham manager Marco Silva. But the decision doesn't completely rest with Silva. Silva says that he is insistent that Harry Wilson is not for sale this January and won't be going anywhere, and that when Leeds' offer came in for him in the summer, he didn't give it 1 second of thought. Silva did, though, say one interesting thing that may mean that this is slightly out of his hands, and if the Fulham hierarchy decide to make the decision for him, his hands will be tied on this one. He said this: "I know it's the last year of his contract. I don't care if it's the last year of his contract. Whether we can take some transfer value or not for him, we should try and sign him for more years." The contract offer has been on the table for a while for Harry Wilson. If Fulham hierarchy decide that he's not going to sign that contract and there is the potential to bring in some money rather than risking losing him at a free in the summer, then they might just decide to take that option. And then it will be down to Wilson to decide. David Ornstein in The Athletic said that Wilson's likely to wind down his contract at Fulham and make a decision this summer where he can maximise his revenue options for himself personally. It's got to be an interesting one. I know people are probably sick of talking about it. I know people are probably thinking there's no hope of this one happening. It's just not happening. But the fact that he hasn't signed a new deal, the fact that Leeds are still interested, until that goes away, there's still a very small chance that he could make the move to Leeds. They did want to bring him in, but the fee is going to be the problem. The money is going to be the problem. That's going to be the problem for the entire window. Leeds are not, as they said, going to spend tens of millions of pounds on any player. They tried to spend 7 million on Wilson. Didn't get him in the summer. We'll see if Fulham decide to accept that now, and if Leeds even have that available cash, if they're also trying to bring in Danilo Doekhi as well. So it's going to be an interesting week or two. We'll see what happens over the next week, and we'll see if Daniel Farke's comments around movement after Derby actually end up being true, and the waiting game that Leeds are playing with some clubs stops, and just go get these deals done if you can. Right, folks, that'll be it for me this morning. I'm back tonight with the podcast. You can check it out later on, myself and Paul. Outside that, enjoy the rest of your day. I'll talk to you later on. See you. Bye.